Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair on the bridge of the USS Defiant. The ship was huge, over 2 miles long, and packed with weapons. It was humanity's first real warship designed for deep space exploration. Jake had been captain for 3 years now, and he loved his job. The bridge was busy with activity. Officers worked at their stations, checking systems and watching for any signs of trouble. The Defiant was on patrol near the edge of human space, looking for new planets and making sure everything was safe. "Captain, we're picking up something strange on the long-range sensors," said Ryan Cross, the tactical officer. He was a young man with sharp eyes and quick reflexes. "It looks like a large fleet of ships heading our way." Jake stood up and walked over to Ryan's station. "How many ships are we talking about?" "At least 50, sir. Maybe more. They're moving in perfect formation, and they're big, really big." Lisa Parker, the chief engineer, looked up from her console. She was a tough woman who knew every bolt and wire on the ship. "Captain, those ships are using technology we've never seen before. The energy readings are off the charts." Jake nodded. Slowly. This was what they had been preparing for. First contact with an alien species. He had hoped it would be peaceful, but 50 warships didn't look like a welcome party. "Amanda, open a channel to Earth Command. Let them know what's happening," Jake said to the communications officer. Amanda Torres was the best at her job, able to work with any communication system. "Already on it, Captain. But it will take 6 hours for the message to reach Earth." The alien fleet was getting closer. On the main screen, Jake could see the ships clearly now. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. The ships looked like they were made of crystal, glowing with blue and purple light. Each one was at least as big as the Defiant. "Incoming transmission, Captain," Amanda said. "It's from the alien fleet." "Put it on screen." The main screen flickered, and suddenly Jake was looking at an alien face. The creature had gray skin, large black eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. It wore what looked like a military uniform, covered in strange symbols. "I am High Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Collective," the alien said in perfect English. "You will surrender your vessel immediately and prepare for processing. Resistance is futile." Jake looked around the bridge. His crew was watching him, waiting for orders. He had trained for this moment, but it still felt strange to be talking to an alien for the first time. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Defiant. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. We have no intention of surrendering." The alien's eyes widened in surprise. "You refuse our demand? This is impossible. No species has ever refused the collective." "Well, you're talking to humans now," Jake said calmly. "We don't surrender easily." High Commander Vextar looked confused and angry. "You are a primitive species with primitive weapons. We have conquered 47 star systems. Every species has submitted to our will. You will do the same." "I don't think so," Jake replied. "This is human space. You're not welcome here." The alien commander's face twisted with rage. "Then you will be destroyed. All ships, attack formation. Show these primitives the power of the collective." The transmission ended, and Jake turned to his crew. "Well, folks, looks like we're going to have our first space battle. Ryan, bring all weapons online. Lisa, I need maximum power to shields and engines. Amanda, send a message to all human colonies. Tell them we've made contact, and we're fighting." "Yes, sir," his officers replied. On the main screen, the alien fleet was spreading out into attack formation. The crystal ships began to glow brighter, charging their weapons. Jake had read reports about alien technology, but seeing it in person was different. 50 ships against one. Danny Walsh, a young engineer, said from his station. "Those aren't good odds." "Depends on how you look at it," Jake said with a smile. Ryan, what's our weapon status? All railguns are loaded and ready, Captain. Missile tubes are armed. Point defense systems are online. Good. Lisa, how are they? Shields? Kinetic barriers are at full power, sir. The new armor plating is ready to take a beating. Jake sat back in his command chair. The alien ships were almost in range now. He could see the blue glow of their weapons getting brighter. Remember, people, Jake said to his crew, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for every human in the galaxy. Show them what we're made of. The first alien ship fired. A beam of pure energy shot across space and hit the Defiant's shields. The ship shook, but the barriers held. More beams followed, lighting up space like a deadly fireworks show. Shields holding at 90%, Lisa reported. Those energy weapons are powerful, but our kinetic barriers are designed to absorb them. Return fire, Jake ordered. The Defiant's railguns opened up. Unlike the pretty energy beams of the aliens, human weapons were simple and brutal. Metal slugs the size of cars shot out at incredible speed, crossing the distance between the ships. In seconds, the first alien ship didn't expect the kinetic attack. The metal slug punched through its crystal hull like paper, and the ship exploded in a shower of blue sparks. Direct hit, Ryan reported with satisfaction. Their shields don't seem to work against our weapons. Good. Keep firing. Show them what human engineering can do. The battle was just beginning, but Jake could already see the surprise on the alien commander's face. The Zephyrians had expected an easy victory against a primitive species. Instead, they were facing an enemy that fought back with deadly effectiveness. The Defiant continued to fire, its weapons reaching out across space to touch the alien ships with death. Jake watched as another crystal ship exploded, then another. His crew worked with calm efficiency, as if they were running a training exercise instead of fighting for their lives. This was humanity's first real test in the galaxy, and Jake was determined to pass it. The space battle was getting worse for the Zephyrians. High Commander Vexstar watched in horror as another of his ships exploded. The humans were using weapons that his people had never seen before. Instead of energy beams, they fired solid metal at incredible speed. Commander, our shields are useless against their weapons, reported Sub-Commander Kyleton from the bridge of the flagship. The kinetic projectiles pass right through our energy barriers. Vexstar could not believe what he was seeing. In over 100 battles, no enemy had ever destroyed even one of his ships. Now, in just 10 minutes, the humans had destroyed 6 crystal vessels. How is this possible? He demanded. They are primitives. Their ship is made of crude metal and chemicals. On the main screen, the human warship continued its deadly dance. The ship moved in ways that seemed impossible, spinning and diving while firing its weapons. The human captain was using tactics that no civilized species would ever attempt. Sir, they're targeting our weapon systems specifically, another officer reported. They're not trying to destroy our ships completely. They're trying to disable us. This was another shock for Vexstar. Most species tried to destroy enemy ships as quickly as possible. The humans seemed to be playing with them, picking apart their fleet piece by piece. Inside the Defiant, the crew worked with deadly calm. Captain Morrison watched the battle from his command chair, giving orders in a steady voice. His people responded like they had done this 1,000 times before. Lisa, I need more power to the forward guns, Jake said. You got it, Captain, Lisa Parker replied. She was crawling through a damaged section of the ship, fixing systems while sparks flew around her. Danny, reroute power from the backup life. Support. Danny Walsh was working in a section that had lost atmosphere. He wore a pressure suit and worked by the light of his helmet lamp. Through the hole in the hull, he could see the alien ships firing at them. No problem, Chief, Danny said. Just give me 30 seconds. Dr. Karen Mitchell, the ship's medical officer, was treating wounded crew members in the medical bay. A young woman named Beth Turner had been hurt when a console exploded. She had burns on her arms and face. "Doc, when can I get back to my station?" Beth asked. "You need to rest," Dr. Mitchell replied. "You have second-degree burns." "But the captain needs every person at their post," Beth said, trying to sit up. This was exactly what confused the aliens. They were listening to human communications, trying to understand their enemy. What they heard made no sense. The humans were hurt. Their ship was damaged, but they kept fighting like nothing was wrong. "Commander, listen to this," Sub-Commander Kyleton said. He played a recording of human voices from the battle. "Hey, Jake, remember that time we fought the pirates near Jupiter?" One voice said. "Yeah, that was fun." Another voice replied, "This is way better, though. These crystal ships are really pretty when they explode." The aliens listening to this felt a chill run through their bodies. The humans were talking about the battle like it was entertainment. They were laughing while their ship burned around them. Vextar made a decision that went against everything he believed. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance. We need to study these creatures before we continue. The Zephyrian fleet pulled back, but they kept their weapons trained on the human ship. Vextar opened a communication channel to his home world. "Supreme Council, this is High Commander Vextar. I need immediate reinforcements." "The humans are not like any species we have encountered." The response came quickly. "Explain yourself, Commander." "Your fleet should have conquered them within minutes. They fight like they want to die," Vextar said. "They use primitive weapons, but they are incredibly effective. Their shields are designed to stop our energy weapons. And their crew ... double quotes." He paused, trying to find the words. "They treat battle like a game." Back on the Defiant, Captain Morrison was getting reports from all over the ship. The news was mostly good. His crew had performed perfectly, and the ship had taken surprisingly little damage. "Captain, the aliens have pulled back," Ryan Cross reported. "They're maintaining distance, but keeping their weapons locked on us." "Good. That gives us time to make repairs." "Lisa, how are we doing?" "Hull breaches on decks 7 and 12 are sealed," Lisa said. "We lost some power conduits, but backup systems are online. We can keep fighting for hours if we need to." Jake nodded. He looked around the bridge at his crew. They were dirty, some were hurt, but they were all smiling. They had just fought the first space battle in human history, and they had won. "Amanda, any word from Earth Command?" "Still 4 hours before they get our message, sir. We're on our own until then." "That's fine. We've handled worse odds before." The alien commander was having a very different conversation with his crew. Officers who had never retreated from any battle were now suggesting they should call for help. "Sir, we could bring the second fleet," one officer suggested. 100 ships should be enough to destroy them." "No," Vextar said slowly. "Did you see how they fought? They were enjoying it. What kind of species enjoys being shot at?" The truth was becoming clear to the Zephyrians. They had built their empire by conquering species that valued life above all else. When faced with superior force, every species they had met chose to surrender rather than die. But humans were different. They seemed to view death as just another problem to solve. They worked in areas that would kill most aliens. They laughed at danger. They treated war like it was their natural state. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the human ship." The communications officer reported. "Put it on screen." Captain Morrison appeared on the main screen. He looked calm and professional, like he was attending a business meeting instead of commanding a warship in battle. "High Commander Vextar, this is Captain Morrison. I want to make something clear. We didn't start this fight, but we're happy to finish it. You can retreat now, or we can continue. Either way is fine with us." The alien commander stared at the human captain. There was no anger in the man's voice, no fear. Just a simple statement of fact. "You are outnumbered 52-1, Vextar said. "So far, so good," Morrison replied with a smile. "My crew is enjoying the challenge. We've never fought crystal ships before. It's educational." The transmission ended, and Vextar felt something he had never experienced before. Fear, not fear of death, but fear of something he couldn't understand. These humans were completely insane by galactic standards, and that made them incredibly dangerous. "Sir, what are your orders?" Sub-Commander Kyleton asked. Vextar looked at the human ship on his screen. It was smaller than his flagship, damaged, and alone. But somehow, it had become the most terrifying thing in the galaxy. "Prepare a message to the Supreme Council," he said quietly. "Tell them we have found something that will change everything." The news spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Ambassador Creathan of the Altarian Republic sat in his office reading the battle report from High Commander Vextar. He read it 3 times before he believed it. "This cannot be correct," he said to his aide. "No species has ever defeated the Zephyrians in battle." "The report includes video footage, sir," the aide replied. "Would you like to see it?" Creathan nodded, and the holographic display activated. He watched the battle in stunned silence. The human ship moved like nothing he had ever seen. It spun and twisted while firing weapons that tore through Zephyrian. Shields like they were made of paper. But what shocked him most was the audio recording of human voices during the battle. The crew was talking and laughing like they were at a party, not fighting for their lives. "Send an emergency message to all council members," Creathan ordered. "We need an immediate meeting." Across the galaxy, other species were having similar reactions. The Galactic Council had kept peace for 10,000 years through the submission protocol. When a new species was discovered, they were given a choice: join the galactic community peacefully or face overwhelming force. Until they surrendered, it had worked perfectly every time. Until now, Council leader Mordon called the emergency session from his home world. Representatives from 50 different species attended the meeting. The chamber was filled with worried voices speaking in dozens of languages. "Order! Order!" Morden called out, "We are here to discuss the human situation. General Quinter will present his analysis." General Quinter was the hegemony's top military expert. He had studied warfare for over 200 years. He activated the holographic display and began his presentation. The species called humans defeated a Zephyrian fleet using primitive kinetic weapons. He began. "Their technology is crude compared to ours. Their ship is made of metal and chemical explosives. They have no psychic abilities, no energy shields, and their bodies are extremely fragile. Then how did they win?" asked Ambassador Velinara of the Crystal Worlds. "They won through what I can only describe as organized insanity," Quinter replied. "Watch this footage." The hologram showed human crew members working while their ship was being torn apart around them. A human engineer was fixing weapons while standing in a room with no air. A medical officer was treating wounded crew members who insisted on returning to battle immediately. "They feel pain like we do," Quinter explained. "They can die from injuries that would barely hurt us, but they continue fighting anyway. They seem to view death as a minor inconvenience." The chamber fell silent. Every species in the galaxy valued life above all else. The idea of fighting when you could die was completely foreign to them. "There's more," Quinter continued. "We intercepted their communications. Listen to this." The recording played human voices from the battle. They were making jokes, sharing stories, and discussing their favorite weapons. One human actually thanked the aliens for providing good target practice. "They're insane. whispered Ambassador Morcol of the Peaceful Worlds. They must be suffering from some kind of mental illness. That's what we thought at first, Quanter said. But our analysis shows this is normal behavior for humans. They come from what we classify as a death world, a planet so dangerous that survival requires constant adaptation to violence. The hologram showed images of Earth, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, and creatures that existed only to kill other creatures. The assembled aliens watched in horror as they learned about human history. They have been at war for their entire recorded history, Quanter explained. They have fought each other with every weapon imaginable. They have survived ice ages, meteor impacts, and diseases that would wipe out most species. Surely this is just one ship, said Ambassador Crethon. How many more could there be? Quanter's expression grew grim. Our intelligence suggests they have thousands of ships like this one. They are currently expanding into space at an alarming rate. They have colonies on dozens of worlds and are building more ships every day. The chamber erupted and frightened. Voices. Representatives were calling for military action, trade sanctions, and even hiding from the humans completely. What do we do? Asked Council Leader Mordon. We have 3 options, Quanter replied. We can attack them before they become stronger. We can try to negotiate with them, or we can hope they never find us. Attack them? Are you insane? Ambassador Velinara demanded. You just showed us they defeated the Zephyrians with 1 ship. Zephyrians were caught off guard, Quanter said. If we combine all our fleets, we might be able to destroy them. Or we might make them angry, Crethon pointed out. Did you see how they fought? They seemed to enjoy it. What happens when we give them a real war? On the other side of the galaxy, the Botanians had already made their decision. They were a peaceful plant-based species who had never fought anyone. After seeing the human battle footage, they sealed their borders and began building underground. Bunkers. The Death Worlders must never find us, their leader declared. We will hide until they destroy themselves or leave the galaxy. The warrior caste Drakmori had the opposite reaction. They were the closest thing to a military species in the galaxy, though they only fought in ritual combat. Their war chief, Grokmar, was excited by the news. Finally, a worthy enemy. He declared, "We must prepare for battle against these humans. They will test our warriors like nothing before." But even the Drakmori were worried. Their idea of warfare was individual. Combat with honor and rules. The humans seemed to fight with entire fleets and showed no mercy to their enemies. Meanwhile, Captain Morrison and his crew were completely unaware of the panic they had caused. They continued their patrol, making repairs and filing reports. To them, the encounter with the Zephyrians was just another day at work. "Amanda, send a message to Earth Command," Jake ordered. "Tell them we encountered a hostile alien fleet and drove them off. Request instructions for further contact." "Yes, sir," Amanda replied. "Should I mention that we're probably famous across the galaxy now?" "What do you mean?" "Well, sir, we just fought the first space battle in human history." "I'm betting that's going to make news," Jake shrugged. "Maybe, but we're not the first humans to fight aliens. We're just the first to do it in space. Send the message." The crew of the Defiant went back to their normal duties. They had no idea that their normal behavior had terrified half the galaxy. To them, fighting impossible odds was just part of being human. Lisa Parker was in the engine room, upgrading the weapon systems. "You know what we need?" she said to Danny Walsh. "Bigger guns. If we're going to fight more crystal ships, we need more firepower." "I was thinking the same thing," Danny replied. "Maybe we could mount some of those new plasma cannons on the outer hull." They talked about weapons, like other species talked about art or music. It was natural to them, but it would have horrified any alien listening. The galaxy was about to learn something important about humans. They didn't just fight to survive. They fought because they enjoyed it. And now they had the tools to fight among the stars. The peaceful age of the galaxy was over. The age of humanity was just beginning. Dr. Yelinara was the best xenobiologist in the galaxy. She had studied over 300 different species and helped integrate them into galactic society. The Galactic Council had given her the most important mission of her career: study the humans in secret and find out how dangerous they really were. She sat in her hidden observation ship at the edge of human space, watching and listening. Her advanced sensors could intercept human communications from light years away. What she learned in the first week made her question everything she thought she knew about intelligent life. Computer, play the latest transmission from the human. Ship called Defiant, she ordered. The computer obeyed, and she heard Captain Morrison's voice giving a routine report to Earth Command. Mission log, day 12. We encountered an alien fleet and engaged in combat. Enemy casualties: 6 ships destroyed, 12 disabled. Our casualties: 3 injured, all returned to duty. Recommend upgrading weapon systems for future encounters. Doctor. Yelinara felt a chill run through her body. The human captain was talking about the battle like it was a training exercise. He mentioned destroying and disabling 18 ships like it was nothing special. Computer, access human historical records, she commanded. The data that came back horrified her. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They had weapons that could destroy entire cities. They had fought battles where millions died, and through it all, they kept making better weapons and better ways to kill each other. This is impossible, she whispered. No species can survive this much violence. But the evidence was right in front of her. Humans didn't just survive violence, they thrived on it. They turned warfare into an art form. They studied it, practiced it, and passed knowledge about it to their children. She intercepted a transmission from a human military academy. Young. Humans were learning about famous battles from their history. They studied generals like Napoleon, Alexander, and Sun Tzu like other species studied philosophers. Computer, analyze human entertainment media, she ordered. The results were even more disturbing. Humans created movies, books, and games about war. They enjoyed watching fictional battles and reading about imaginary conflicts. Violence was entertainment for them. Dr. Yelinara sent her first report to the Galactic Council. It was marked Emergency Classification, Extreme Threat. The humans are not just a warrior species, she wrote. They are a species that has evolved to find pleasure in conflict. They do not fight because they must. They fight because they want to. Back on the Defiant, Lieutenant Commander Steve Brooks was analyzing the sensor data from their battle. He was the ship's intelligence officer, and he had noticed something interesting. Captain, we're being watched, he told Morrison during their daily briefing. By who? Jake asked. Unknown. There's a ship hiding about 2 light years away. It's using advanced stealth technology, but our new sensors can pick up the energy signature. Alien? Has to be. The technology is way beyond anything we have. Jake thought about this. Any chance it's hostile? Doesn't seem to be. It's just sitting there, watching us. My guess is they're studying us. Let them watch, Jake decided. Maybe they'll learn something useful. Steve nodded, but he didn't tell the captain about the other ships he had detected. There were at least 12 alien vessels scattered around human space, all watching and recording everything humans did. Dr. Yelinara continued her research, diving deeper into human culture. She studied their religion, their art, their philosophy, and their science. Everything she learned made the situation worse. Humans worshipped gods of war alongside gods of peace. Their art celebrated both creation and destruction. Their philosophy included concepts like necessary evil and righteous anger. Even their science was focused on understanding the universe so they could control it. Computer, access human. Space colonization records, she ordered. The data showed that humans were expanding into space at an incredible rate. They were building colonies on planets that would kill most species. They were mining asteroids, building space stations, and constructing more warships. But the most terrifying discovery was how they treated their colonies. Every human settlement was armed and ready to fight. They didn't just build cities. They built fortresses. They didn't just explore space. They conquered it. She intercepted a transmission from a human colony on a world called New Texas. The colonists were dealing with a native species that didn't want humans on their planet. Instead of leaving, the humans were negotiating from a position of strength. "We're not here to hurt you," the human negotiator said to the aliens. "But we're not leaving either. We can share this world, or we can take it. Your choice." The native species chose to share. Dr. Yelanara realized this was how humans had always operated. They offered cooperation, but they were always ready to fight if cooperation failed. Her second report to the Galactic Council was even more alarming. "The humans are not just expanding into space," she wrote. "They are preparing for war on a galactic scale. Every colony is a fortress. Every civilian is a potential soldier. They are building an empire designed for conquest." The Council's response was immediate. Ambassador Crethan sent a coded message. "How many ships do they have?" Dr. Yelanara spent 3 days gathering intelligence. The answer shocked her. Conservative estimate: 5,000 warships currently operational. Production rate: approximately 100 new ships per month. Projected fleet size in 5 years: 15,000 ships. The silence from the council lasted for hours. Finally, Council Leader Mordun sent a single word: recommendations? Dr. Yelanara had been thinking about this question for weeks. "We have 2 options," she replied. "Immediate diplomatic contact before they discover us, or prepare for the largest war in galactic history. Which do you recommend?" "Diplomacy. If we fight them now, we might win, but the cost would be enormous. If we wait, they will become too strong to defeat." The council made their decision quickly. Within hours, they were preparing their most experienced diplomat for the most important mission in galactic history. Dr. Yelanara continued her observations, but now she was looking for signs of human weakness. She found very few. Humans could be killed, but they didn't seem to fear death. They could be hurt, but they fought through pain. They could be defeated, but they always came back stronger. The only thing that seemed to stop humans was other humans. They fought among themselves as much as they fought external enemies. But when faced with an outside threat, they united quickly and effectively. She watched the Defiance crew during their daily routines. They trained constantly, always preparing for the next battle. They maintained their weapons like sacred objects. They talked about tactics and strategy like other species talked about the weather. "Computer, final analysis," she ordered. "What happens if the humans discover the galactic community before we make contact?" The computer's response was immediate. Probable outcome: human expansion into galactic space within 1 year. Estimated resistance from current galactic powers: minimal. Projected result: human dominance of known galaxy within 10 years. Dr. Yelanara sent her final report to the council. "The humans are not just dangerous," she wrote. "They are inevitable. We can work with them, or we can be conquered by them. But we cannot ignore them." The message that came back was brief. Diplomatic mission approved. Prepare for first contact. The galaxy was about to meet humanity officially. Dr. Yelanara just hoped they would survive the encounter. Ambassador Zenkai was the most experienced diplomat in the galaxy. She had negotiated peace treaties, trade agreements, and first contact protocols for over 300 years. But as her ship approached Earth, she felt more nervous than she had ever been in her life. "Are you sure about this, Ambassador?" asked her aide, a young diplomat named Corwin. "The humans might attack us on sight." "That's exactly why we need to do this," Zenkai replied. "If we wait, they will find us eventually. Better to meet them on our terms than theirs." Her ship, the Harmony, was the most advanced diplomatic vessel in the galaxy. It was designed to impress and intimidate. With shields that could withstand most weapons and communication systems that could translate any language as they entered Earth's solar system, they were immediately detected by human sensors. Within minutes, a fleet of human warships was escorting them toward Earth. "Attention, alien vessel," came a voice over the radio. "This is Admiral Pete Carson of the Earth Defense Fleet. State your intentions." Zenkai took a deep breath. "This is Ambassador Zenkai of the Galactic Council. We request permission to land on Earth for diplomatic talks." There was a long pause. Then the Admiral's voice came back, sounding surprised. "Galactic Council? Stand by while we contact our government." The human ships maintained their escort formation, but they didn't threaten the alien vessel. Zenkai was impressed. The humans were cautious, but not automatically hostile. 3 hours later, she found herself in a conference room in the United Nations building in New York. Across the table sat Admiral Carson, Chief Diplomat Helen Rodriguez, and several other human officials. "Welcome to Earth," Helen said politely. "We have to admit, we weren't expecting visitors." Zenkai studied the humans carefully. They looked relaxed and professional, but she could sense the tension beneath the surface. These were predators trying to appear peaceful. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with us," Zenkai replied. "I represent the Galactic Council, an organization of 50 different species that governs this part of the galaxy." 50 species? Admiral Carson asked. "How long have you been out there?" "The Council has existed for 10,000 years. We maintain peace and order throughout the galaxy." The humans exchanged glances. Helen leaned forward. "And you're here because ... Because your species has attracted attention. Your battle with the Zephyrians has caused quite a stir in the galactic community." "The crystal ships?" Admiral Carson said. "That was just a patrol encounter. Our captain did what he had to do." This was exactly what Dr. Yelanara had warned about. The humans considered their devastating victory to be routine. Zenkai chose her words carefully. "The galaxy operates under certain ... understandings. When a new species is discovered, they usually choose to join the galactic community peacefully. The Zephyrians were sent to offer you that choice. By threatening to destroy us?" Helen asked. "The Zephyrians are not known for their diplomatic skills," Zenkai admitted. "But no species has ever refused their offer before. You are the first to fight back." "And win," Admiral Carson added with a slight smile. "Yes, and win." Zenkai paused. "This has caused considerable concern among the galactic powers. They are not sure how to deal with a species that prefers fighting to surrendering." Helen laughed. "I think there's been a misunderstanding. Humans prefer peace to war. We want to cooperate with other species. We just don't like being threatened." "But you seem to be very good at warfare," Zenkai observed. "We've had a lot of practice," Admiral Carson said. "But we'd rather not use those skills if we don't have to." Zenkai felt a small spark of hope. Maybe the humans could be reasoned with after all. The Galactic Council would like to offer you membership. You would have access to advanced technology, trade opportunities, and protection from hostile species. "What? Would we have to give up?" Helen asked. "Nothing, really. You would need to follow galactic law and participate in council decisions. In return, you get access to knowledge from 50 different civilizations. Admiral Carson and Helen looked at each other. The offer sounded good, but they had learned to be careful about deals that seemed too good to be true. "What's the catch?" Admiral Carson asked. Then single quotes Kai hesitated. "The other species are concerned about human military capabilities. They would feel more comfortable if you agreed to limit your expansion and weapons development." The room fell silent. Helen's expression hardened slightly. "You want us to stop building ships and stop exploring space?" "Not stop, just slow down. And perhaps share your military technology with the Council for defensive purposes only." "Admiral." Carson leaned back in his chair. "Ambassador, let me make sure I understand this. You want us to give up our independence, limit our growth, and hand over our weapons. In exchange, you'll let us join your club. The benefits are substantial," Zenkai insisted. "Peace, prosperity, knowledge, ... We already have peace," Helen said. "We're building our own prosperity. And as for knowledge, we seem to be learning quite well on our own." Zenkai realized the negotiation was not going as planned. The humans were not responding like other species. They were not impressed by the offer of galactic membership. "Perhaps you don't understand," she said carefully. "A galaxy is a dangerous place. There are species much more powerful than the Zephyrians. You would be safer as part of the Council." "How many wars has the Council fought in the last 1,000 years?" Admiral Carson asked. "None. We maintain peace through diplomacy and the threat of overwhelming force." "And how many wars have humans fought in the last 1,000 years?" Zenkai had read Dr. Yelinara's reports, approximately ... several hundred. "And we're still here," Admiral Carson said with a smile. "We'll take our chances." At that moment, Zenkai understood what the other Council members had been afraid of. The humans were not just warriors. They were successful warriors. They had survived thousands of years of constant conflict and emerged stronger each time. "What do you want from us?" she asked finally. Helen and Admiral Carson exchanged another look. Helen spoke first. "We want to be treated as equals. We want to explore space freely. We want to trade with whoever we choose. And we want to be left alone unless we ask for help. And if other species threaten you, we'll handle it," Admiral Carson said simply. Zenkai sent an encrypted message to the Galactic Council. The response came back within an hour. "Accept their terms. Do not antagonize them further. The Council agrees to your conditions," she told the humans. "Welcome to the galactic community." The news spread across the galaxy within days. Humanity had joined the Galactic Council, but on their own terms. They had not given up any weapons or agreed to any limits on their expansion. That species throughout the galaxy reacted with a mixture of relief and terror. The humans were now officially part of the galactic community, but nobody was sure what that meant. On the Defiant, Captain Morrison received new orders from Earth Command. He was to take his ship to the galactic capital and serve as humanity's first official representative to the Council. "Well, folks," he told his crew, "looks like we're going to be diplomats now." "Do we get to keep our weapons?" asked Ryan Cross. "Of course," Jake replied. "We're diplomats, not fools." The crew laughed. They were looking forward to seeing the galactic capital and meeting other species. But they were also ready to fight if anyone tried to hurt them. Lisa Parker was already working on upgrades to the ship's weapon systems. "If we're going to represent humanity," she said, "we should look our best." Dr. Yelinara watched the Defiant leave human space and head for the galactic capital. Her mission was complete, but she felt no sense of accomplishment. She had studied the humans for months, and she still didn't understand them. They were violent, but not cruel. They were warlike, but not evil. They would fight to the death for their friends and show mercy to defeated enemies. They were the most dangerous species in the galaxy, but also possibly the most honorable. as the Defiant approached the galactic capital. Representatives from 50 species prepared to meet them. Some were excited to learn from the humans. Others were terrified of what humanity might do, but all of them knew that the galaxy had changed forever. The age of peaceful expansion was over. The age of human exploration had begun. Captain Morrison stood on his bridge, looking at the massive space station that served as the galactic capital. It was beautiful and impressive, home to millions of beings from across the galaxy. "Take us in, slow and steady," he ordered. "Let them get a good look at us." The Defiant moved through space with deadly grace, its weapons visible but not threatening. The ship was a symbol of humanity's new place in the galaxy, ready for peace. Prepared for war. As they docked at the station, Jake reflected on how much had changed. A few months ago, humans thought they were alone in the universe. Now they were members of a galactic community with thousands of species. The future was uncertain, but Jake was confident about one thing. Humanity would face whatever came next the same way they had faced everything else. Together, armed and ready for anything. The galaxy was about to learn what it meant to have humans as neighbors. For better or worse, nothing would ever be the same again.